So, the TEDx and TED series seems to be just right full of opinions that need to be dissected and really given a critical thought, you know? So, we have this presentation by Mark Logan. Why can't women lead? Solid enough question. He's going to shoot to answer it. Let's go.
When I was 17 years old, my brother Paul, who was 19 at the time, and standing on the very cusp of his young adult life, but one beautiful evening in summertime, Paul drowned. I remember the next morning watching my mother starting to manage the aftermath of that awful night. Firstly, she wakened my young sister, who was just 9 then, and gently and carefully explained to her what had happened.
Okay, so first and foremost, this is a story about his brother tragically passing. Rest in peace. That's sad. And, how his mom is clearly coping with it. Beautiful accent. And I'm not sure how this takes place, like what kind of upbringing this is, because I can't particularly pinpoint his age. Because if he's in his 60s or maybe 50s, 60s, then that was the 70s, saying 70s and 60s, like this time frame, this time span. And so, wow, yeah, I mean, people have been losing their kids for a real long time. And yeah, I'm pretty sure your mom, that hit her very hard.
Then she began contacting our wider family, and I could hear her on the phone comforting each of them in their shock and their grief. Then she did the same with the neighbours as they began to come to the house, having heard the news. And then later that day, as Paul's close friends began to arrive, I remember in particular one young...
Where's your dad? I'm just curious. I can't help but feel like we're not going to hear anything about his father in this story. And that's the thing. There's a lot. I guess that would be some missing information.
Man sobbing into her shoulder as she reassured him that life would go on and he would be okay again in time. Then after the funeral, when all the mourners had gone and we were each left alone with our private grief and despair, I remember that she made it her purpose at that time to bring each of us back from darkness, back into life, so that we could go on living.
Where was your dad? Okay, first and foremost. Everybody's sad and everybody's grieving, true enough, but yeah, I don't know. He's speaking of, I guess, his mother's strength, in that time, and it really is an amazing thing. But there's just so much missing information, and one particularly crucial piece that I came up with when watching this, and I'll give it a minute.
We didn't call it leadership then, but of course that's exactly what it was. And so constant, so consistent was that leadership that we practically took it for granted.
Okay, so he's speaking of the leadership that his mom showed when his brother died. First and foremost, where's your dad? Secondly, where is how are we sure mom didn't particularly set this up? No offense, don't get mad at me, please. Do not get upset with me. But if she's handling it all nice and smooth and coolly, isn't that a bit of a red flag in and of itself?
Until one day I realised that none of us this whole time had ever seen my mother cry, not even at Paul's funeral, and not that she thought that made her strong, just that she was so focused on us.
But was she though? Because it's kind of callous for a mother not to shed a tear during her son's going away arrangements and just the situation in and of itself is very odd. And once again, you're not mentioning a father, so I'm left to assume that you were raised by a single mother. Let's continue.
I asked her, "Mum, how do you feel?" And her answer taught me more about leadership than I've ever learned since, because her answer wasn't about her. Her answer taught me that the essence of leadership is in the empathy that we have for those around us. Because all she said to me was, "I just wonder, Mark, when did his big heart stop beating?" Looking back now, I'm reminded of how comfortable we are in this society with female...
Did your brother gonna like drown or something like that. We know exactly when his heart stopped beating. This is like, wait, what? And he said, "Oh, she didn't say this outright. This is what taught me more about empathy or anything else like that." And I get the correlation that you're making, Mark. But the deal is that you're leaving so much else off the table, man. Like there's so many holes in this story, particularly how calmly and coolly your mom's acting when your brother pop up dead.
Leadership in a maternal setting of the matriarch who in many families sets the standard and the tone and holds us to them. And I'm also reminded of how uncomfortable we still are with female leadership in business, even though the skills required are exactly.
Okay, so how uncomfortable are you when you have plenty of females in leadership positions as we speak? You cannot bump your head without coming across some beautician that's opening them beauty shops someplace, particularly in urban communities, but even within the corporate world. Hell, YouTube CEO, what is it? Female, a woman. They have put in programs since like 2013, 2012. They've been putting in programs to make sure females get these types of positions and get these types of opportunities.
The same. I'd like to introduce you now to another woman. This is someone I've worked with many times in my career, and I'm sure many people here today have too. In fact, I'm sure she's in the audience with us today. This is a woman who, armed with talent and drive and energy, decides to take her first steps along that road to senior leadership in business.
Once again, the thing, because I just realized that I never particularly pointed out the major difference, like the supreme difference between what he's saying at her taking her position in a maternal sense as opposed to the business sense, is that those are two completely different situations. One is your young, one is your children, one is your family. Like we're talking about, you're of my blood, you are flesh of my flesh, blood of my blood. I would kill for you. I would murder for you. I would lay down my life to make sure that you're okay, no matter what. That's the biological that, females are, that's their nature, as opposed to business, which is far more analytical and cutthroat and has no emotional attachment to it whatsoever. So it's basically two completely separate and different paths that can't really converge all that well. They don't converge that well for men, so they're damn sure not going to converge that well for women. And yet he's like, so why don't we have all these people? Like, people just make different life choices. And some things are important to other people that aren't important to the next person. But the thing when it comes to a lot of these corporations is that they have to pretend as if, oh yeah, that family stuff, oh yeah, that matters. That's why they do the woke marketing and everything else like that. It's because they have to pretend as if they actually care about something beyond their profits. Whereas as a human being, we always, like, it's innate. It's a part of our biological DNA to want to participate and want to actually help move things forward and progress. And if a company can easily just make you believe that, hey, by purchasing this thing or taking part in this corporate thing where you're making millions of dollars, but people are still hurting, then boom, it's all good. It's a mindset. It's a mentality. Men are far more adept to it, but women can't do it because they're people at the end of the day, right?
Well, she's going to find out at the start of that journey that her application for that post will be judged a little more harshly than if she were male.
Because females are far more sensitive than men are. Let's be real. I mean, when a female wants to go into a male space, she does have to present herself in a far more masculine manner because of how we are, like, what I'm saying? Like, we try to sniff out the alphas and see what weaknesses are. It's a part of our makeup.
Society knows that leadership is by default a male activity, that strength, determination, decisiveness, that these are inherently male leadership traits.
See, and that's the thing. I don't think that they are. I think that whoever got the heart gonna step up, and that heart can come from a male or female. If you got the heart to step up and take the reins, then boom, go get them. But it is a primal thing. It is a, innate carnal type deal.
We admit that women can have them too, but only by exception. Now, if she gets over that hurdle, she'll discover that those attitudes persist long into the job itself, so that the first time one of her projects experiences difficulty, there'll be a hint in the air, a suspicion that perhaps her weak female leadership's at least partly to blame.
And it very likely could be. Like, why are you trying to take it off the table, my G? Like, that's the thing. Well, why are you trying to remove a variable from the equation? Because real talk, it's like I say all the time when I've dealt with single moms, and this is generalization. Trust me, I know, but it takes a lot less effort to get over on a single mother. You know, it takes a lot less effort to lie to you because you believe what you want to believe. Sorry, it's just the reality of the situation, and in that, I'm like, well. And these are just these have nothing to do with business. Like, this is all completely emotional type stuff because we've allowed such comfort to whereas people can just sit there on emotion and be like, oh my goodness, feelings matter more than anything else in participation award trophies and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, we've been actually been walking down this road for a really long time now, and it's not helping. It hasn't helped. It hasn't produced the type of results that were promised, and this keeps happening. Like, trust me, the story of my life.
She'll find when she's in meetings with her executive peers that she's often interrupted when she's talking and sometimes ignored altogether. And if she confides in close colleagues about these issues, well, they'll advise her that she needs to toughen up, to man up if she wants to be a leader. If she toughens up, she'll be taken aside further down the line by other colleagues and told that she needs to soften her approach.
So here's the deal. It's like, okay, yeah, and because you're sitting there in this position where honestly, if you can't innately take reins of any situation or scenario, then no, you are not the leader. I mean, I'm sorry, and it's not to sit here and berate women or any female that's been put in that position, but the deal is, like, I was recently watching the Gillette commercial where the guy put his hand on a female's shoulder, was like, I think what she's trying to say. I'm just like, well, and she sits there just meekly and mumbly, and like, well, shoot, like, I can't help but think of the Dave Chappelle sketch. She was like, get your hand, when keeping it real goes wrong, when he's like, get your hand out of my face, and he starts like spazzing on a guy. Like, look, however you got to that position, darling, rock that position. But I can't help but feel like that's just a media image that has been portrayed over and over and over again. When, if you've ever interacted with females who have been in upper management, they'd be cool as hell, man. Like, for the most part, until they decide to Me Too somebody, and then it's like, oh snap. So yeah, it's a part of, like, the whole Me Too thing is really going to show towards female nature. Like, oh wait, I can get a couple of dollars for saying that I felt uncomfortable, and that's all. It's about how I feel as opposed to what actually happened, and thusly, yeah, you're gonna implode from the inside.
Because we don't like it, and if she expresses her frustration at these contradictions, she'll be labelled, probably behind her back, as a difficult woman to work with. And she noticed that some of her female colleagues.
Okay, shorty right there, not the old ginger. Yikes! Look at the ginger beaming with pride. Like, dude with the beard looks kind of bored. Shorty right there is like rather right though. She's definitely looking good. Oh man, the next to her look like Stefan Molyneux to our right. And the other lady's picking her nose. Gross. There's so much femininity, and like, I'm sorry, just the young looking one just catches the eye. The rest of them, like, yo, what the hell? You got a chick picking a nose. You got another clearly fear-eyed cat lady about to cry. My God. Yo, take it easy.
Far from being more supportive and understanding of her situation, actually compete with her more vigorously for what they perhaps perceive to be just a limited number of opportunities available to women at a senior level. Now, she knows that her male colleagues walk a difficult path in leadership too. It's a difficult journey for everyone. But she also knows that all the way along that road, that they are not paying that gender tax that she...
And we're done. So, yeah, like, they're not paying that gender tax. Bruh, there's no gender tax. It's a vagina tax, okay? You want to call it anything. And secondly, okay, all right, Jay, you're feeling some kind of way. Because you sat there, you open up with this story about your mom, who, you know, like us, with the whole filled story about your mother that is to play to emotion as opposed to any true facts. And what the true facts basically are is that, hey, everybody makes different choices. Wherever you are in life is due to the choices that you made to get to where you are in life. And, you know, if a female has made it to, like, Susan Wojcicki, I never knock what she does at that executive level, because apparently she did it well enough to get the position she's in. Cool. Even though I literally hate a lot of the choices that she's made, it's still her choices to make, and what happens. And it's so much different than a biological connection to something. Like, the business and the biological are two separate things. And Mr. Logan here has decided to play them against each other for whatever reason. To really just basically push this agenda as if the opportunities aren't there. As if the opportunities haven't been presented, the programs haven't been in place since. And I was BS when I said 2012. We're talking about like the 80s. Back in the 80s, they had all these different programs because it was like, yeah, we definitely want female women in these positions. And it's like, great. You know, it is what it is. Because guess what? Like, the heart that you got inside you, that's the most important part. Like, if you got the heart for leadership, you gonna lead. If you got the heart, if you don't, then trust me, it gets revealed. That's a beautiful thing that time does. It really does. Time and situations and circumstances. So, with that being said, we're gonna bring this one to an end, because Mr. Logan here is just really trying to like ham up this notion. He put out the entire, like, you know, like, it's so vividly, right? Like, oh, that woman that's being oppressed in the corporate, she made it to, you know how much money that woman making? Bruh, she done priced herself out of the she done priced herself out of the market. What do you want? So, oh man. So with that being said, we're gonna bring this one to an end. All the internet stuff. If you liked it, toss it a like, dislike, go ahead, do that too. Nobody's scared of you. Sub. If you enjoy my fantastic voice, you want to get videos like this every single day, share, because sharing is caring. And YouTube and BitChute, not the biggest fans of your boy over here. And speak. Let me know, what do you think in the comments. I mean, the role of a mother and the role of a corporate CEO, I don't think that you should really be trying to tie those two together. But here he is. Right? I mean, because that's really where we get that idea of female leadership from, because a lot of females put themselves in a position where they have to lead, right? Because they pick some no good dude to make a child with, or situations happen. Do you ever read the book Flowers in the Attic? But but either ways, the the idea that a female can't lead, I think, is just past cliche and trite, and it's irritating that you got this, like, you just got these people, and this video doesn't have that many views, him in and of itself, but I felt like a rebuttal was still needed, and I hadn't seen a lot of people like covering this one. So either ways, let me know what you guys think in the comments, and until the next one.